Welcome to Real Bass Lessons. We're going to do some more jazz today, but this is going to be back to the beginning. We're going to work on some blues solo phrasing. You don't need to know any chord changes or any scales, anything like that. You just need to use your ear, and that's the whole goal, is to get our ear involved in this playing. It is going to be a jazz sounding blues like this. You've heard that sound before. Sure you have. And we'll have a little play along later on. But really, you just need to learn, listen, and learn to hear some of these simple phrases and play them anywhere in the blues that sounds good. Okay? We're going to use a real simple pitch set, so it's all about rhythm and making phrases, question and answer, so that your music sounds like you're speaking. I call it preaching. I remember my son Grant got real good at this. I kept saying, "Preach it to it, Grant, preach it to him," and it just started feeling real good. Some of the great players you can listen to, one of them comes to my mind, is listen to Grant Green. All of his playing is like this, but his blues playing is just real preaching, real good stuff. So let's look at it. Key of F here. Okay, let's use these pitches. Kind of a little pentatonic-ish. Not completely, similar. But again, look at these pitches. Here's my F. Learn these. Play those so you can figure out that's what we're going to do, okay? Now let's do the tempo like this. A 1, 2, 3, 4. So I know you can remember that right now. Let's just remember that feel. A 1, 2, first phrase. Great one. I'm repeating it over and over is what I'm doing. I make a little loop out of it. Play with me. Here comes another one. Sure. Play along with me. Learn these sounds. Back the first one. Let's put them together. Cool. Here's another one. 2 bars. Baby do bam, baby do da. Now let's try to put those 3 simple little licks together. And I may mess them up because I'm improvising. Well, let's just hear that. A 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's the ticket. Why don't you get your bass out and play with me, okay? Sort of like a call and response, if you will. Here's my little play along. Let's get that clicking along and see what it sounds like. Oh, something else popped up on me. Hang on a sec, I'll get her out here. Here we go. There it is. We'll let one chorus go by. Then we'll use those 3 licks and I'll just play them. You kind of just play with me. You don't have to worry about getting it exact, but get the sort of the shapes and the phrasing, if you will. Preach it. Here we go. A 1, 2, 3, 4. Same thing. Almost. There's that third phrase. Yeah, let's do some more of that. A little bit more. Well, let's stop there. You get the idea. I'm using a very small amount of vocabulary, jazz vocabulary, blues vocabulary, but I'm trying to make little melodic phrases. Let's talk about that. What's a melodic phrase? Well, it usually is simple enough that we can hear it and sing it. It's not a... Now, too many people think that jazz, man, I got to learn a lot of scales and a lot of chords and I got to play a lot of notes. Well, you can if you want, but a lot of the great players just play a lot of blues sounds, real simplistic, and they sound great. So again, I'm just using these pitches. I think I used a couple little chromatics in between. But what's good phrasing? Well, I did a question answer. Sure. Classic phrasing in jazz, most music, is question, question, ultimate answer. Let me illustrate a few more of those. 1, 2, 3, 4. Did you hear that? Beat up, beep-o-dee up, beat up, boat up, question, answer, question, ultimate answer. Again, 2, 3, 4. And understand, sometimes a good phrasing, a good answer, or a good illustration of phrasing is the space. You got to leave the space. I once heard somebody describe it as, of course we know music's a language, but if you hear someone talking and there's not enough space in there, we don't tend not to pay attention to it. And if we're playing, and we're playing constant, it very quickly gets out of that realm of a conversation. And then we can appreciate it. We can go, boy, that guy plays really fast, but it doesn't really grab our ears. There's a lot of great players who play a lot of notes, but when most of the great players are really communicating, it starts to get a little bit simpler usually. And the idea, again, is it's a communication, a dialogue. You have a dialogue, a conversation with the listener, even though they're not making a sound, you're leaving space for them. Okay? Let's look at those again. Those same pitches. I'm going to play along with the audio track here, and just listen to how I phrase. Okay? Sneak in a few more pitches here. Resolution. Got the idea? Any questions? Now, I know some people say, Jim, you make it look so easy. Well, I've been doing it all my life. I just recently had somebody comment on that on those giant step videos I made, going, man, I spent weeks and I just barely got the first 2 minutes. And I said, good on you. I spent longer than that to get those first 2 minutes. I spent years working to get that. So improvisation in jazz, something simple like this, you can do anything you want, but the ear should dictate what sounds good. And to learn to do it, you want to start with some simple, predetermined pitch sets, little groups of pitches like I just did here. And you want to practice making it feel good. Now, if you don't listen to jazz, if you don't have jazz in your ear, you're not going to know what necessarily sounds good. I know, you can play anything you want. I've had students forever say, Jim, but I just want to do my own thing. Well, go ahead, that's cool. You want to play gigs with better players? Well, you better learn the language that everyone is speaking. So to start with, just get yourself some Grant Green records that it says blues. One of the ones I like is called Spiffy Diffy. Grant Green's playing his guitar, playing blues, and just listen. Of course, you can steal some of his licks, but the main thing is you want to start to get the sound of the blues in your ear. Also, get something by Dexter Gordon, a tenor saxophone player, but make sure it's blues. He plays lots of other songs, but get some blues and just listen to those blues phrases. And then, of course, one of the masters, Paul Chambers. PC's language on blues is just amazing. And believe it or not, it's a little more difficult than some of these other people I just mentioned. Start with Grant Green. That's simple stuff, but it sounds incredible. So I'm going to just play a little bit here and get your bass out and play along with me. I may add a few other pitches, but focus on the ones, okay? Here we go. Let's do that again. Get your bass and do a question and answer with me. Get where you can play along. I think that'll do us. Get after that. Start somewhere. Sometimes people say, man, there's so much to learn, I don't know where to start. And I want to get all of this. Well, how about start right here? Start with these licks. And you have to play them oh so much that they become part of your language. And then when you do that, you'll hear them on jazz records. Okay? I'll make this little play along I've got here available too on a download on one of the other pages. There'll be a link to it. Fired up. Jazz blues, using your ear, playing phrases. Preaching. Cool. You can do it.